Okay, good morning everybody, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning as we are studying together Parashat Korah. Of course, our parasha is known for the parasha of Mahloket, the episode of fighting and dispute and strife and quarrel. Korah is a man who has a lot of power and fame and money, but of course, he's jealous. Korah wants more power, he wants more fame, he's upset that his younger cousin was chosen, and so he decides to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu and to challenge the entire authority that Moshe has. He claims that you don't have any of this power, you made up this whole thing. Kol ha'edah kulam kedoshim, we heard the first two commandments, but nothing more than that, and everything else is made up. Korah here is coming with some serious claims, and our rabbis tell us that his mahloket with Moshe, this disagreements in life are not necessarily a problem. It's okay to have mahloket. Many people have mahloket. Mahloket is a problem when it's the wrong kind of mahloket. So as an example, our rabbis tell us, mahloket leshem shamayim is good. If it's a mahloket that's for the sake of heaven, that's a good mahloket. Mahaloket that's not for the sake of heaven, that's not good. And the Gemara now, the Mishnah gives us now an example. What's an example of a good mahaloket that's leshem shamayim? The two rabbis, Shammai and Hillel, those two rabbis, they were a good argument. If you're arguing like them, that's good. But if you're arguing, and your argument is like Korah and Adato, Korah and his people, that's a bad mahloket. That's a mahloket to stay away from. So here we have, I guess, if you will, a benchmark of where we need to aim. If we're arguing, we need to be like Hillel and Shammai. We need to stay away from being like Korah. Now, what exactly does that look like? To be like Hillel and Shammai, I have to only argue about Torah? Am I not allowed to argue in business? What's the best move for the company? What does that mean? You're only allowed to argue if it's like Hillel and Shammai. I can only argue on the laws of, Tum'ah and Tahara, on the laws of kosher and not kosher, and whatever Hillel and Shammai argued on in the Gemara. I can't argue on non-Torah related topics. That's for sure not what it means. There are many answers though to explain. So then what am I allowed to argue about? One idea that our rabbis tell us is that if you look at the words, the verbiage, it says, don't be like Korah and Adato. Now notice that it doesn't tell us Korah and Moshe. That would have been the correct way to phrase it. A bad mahloket is a mahloket between Hillel and a good one is Hillel and Shammai. A bad one is Korah and Moshe. That's what it should have said. But it doesn't say that. It doesn't say Korah and Moshe. Instead, it says Korah and his men. And it leaves out the other side of the argument. And the Malbim says, based on this, something very powerful. The Malbim realizes and understands that's the problem with Korah's argument to begin with. You know, what did Korah want? Korah, he wanted what? He wanted to be Kohen Gadol. Is that what everyone else wanted? The 250 men that were with him, is that what they wanted also? That's not what they wanted. Who were the men that were with him? The Pasuk says they were Datan, Aviram, people from the tribe of Reuven. Now we know if you're from Reuven, you're not from Kohen. If you're not Levi, you can't be Kohen Gadol. So what did these 250 guys want? These other men from the tribe of Reuven. You know what they wanted, said the Malbim? They wanted that the entire leadership should revert back to how it used to be. Before Kohanim, who was originally going to be the head of the nation? Originally, who was going to be the priests? It was going to be the head of each family, the Bechor. The Bechor lost it because of Chet HaEgel. But this is what they wanted. They wanted that they should go back to Reuven. Korah wanted that he should get something because he is from the Yitzhar. And says the Malbim beautifully, look at the first pasuk. Vayikach Korah. Korah took his position. You know what he was looking at? He was looking at the fact that he's Ben Yitzhar, Ben Kehat, Ben Levi. He was saying, I should be in charge because I'm from Yitzhar, and I'm from Kehat, and I'm from Levi. But the other guys, you know what they were saying? No. We want to be in charge because we are Bnei Reuven. That's how the pasuk ends. So each one is coming from a different perspective. Even within their own camp, even within their own side, they couldn't get along. Now they got along temporarily to fight against Moshe. They were able to unite for the moment because my enemy's enemy is my friend. And so together we both hate Moshe, so let's join forces. But make no mistake, if Korah would have won, there wouldn't have been peace right after that. Because even within Korah's camp, within his own party, there was differences of opinion. And therefore, says the Malbim, that's what it means to be Shelo Leshem Shamayim. Why are you joining? Why are you here? Why are you arguing against this other person? A lot of times, we'll notice that the agenda is different for each person. They want to try to get this, they want to try to get that. So all of a sudden, we're not united on the cause. We're not together on the reason that we're here. And therefore, that says the Malbim is mahloket shelo l'shem shamayim. Another answer is given by our rabbis. And they say, well, take a look. A mahloket shelo l'shem shamayim is when you're like Korah and his men. By the way, that's why it says Korah and his men. It doesn't say Korah and Moshe. Because the argument wasn't Korah and Moses. It was Korah with his own people. They didn't even get along. You understand? Now, coming back for a minute to Korah, what was his claim? His claim, he wanted to be the leader. So what should he have done? He should have gotten up and said, Moshe, I think I'm a better leader than you. That's what he should have said. And then we could discuss, vote, see who's a better leader. The problem with Korah is that he doesn't make his argument about what he really wants. Because he knows that if he argues about what he really wants, he will lose. He knows he can't win a head-to-head argument with Moshe about leadership. Everyone knows Moshe is a better leader than him. Even Korah doesn't dare argue about that. But he wants it, so what does he do? He comes and he brings into the mahloket, into the argument, unrelated matters. Korah now, in order to fight and to maybe remove Moses from his position, he realizes that he has to try to bring in unrelated issues that could work against Moshe. And then, maybe I'll win over here. And you see it so many times today in politics. I remember when it used to be, each one gets up and says, this is what I bring to the table. This is what I bring to the table. Today you watch debates, unfortunately, it's no longer about that. It's about where you're wrong, about the flaws in your policy, about how you are incorrect, and it's never about what I am good at. Korah's arguing with Moshe here. All of a sudden he throws in left field curveball. What does he say? He says, Moshe, if a house is filled with Sefer Torah, do you still have to put a mezuzah on the door? Moshe says, of course you need a mezuzah. What does it matter if there's Torah or not? He says, what kind of silly thing is this? If I have an empty house, one mezuzah is enough. So here the whole house is filled with mezuzahs. Why do I need a mezuzah? So now Korah has over here an interesting question. It's a good question. We have to see the answer. I don't know. We have to analyze. What's the point of his question though? The point of his question, if you think about it, you realize immediately that it has nothing to do with the issue. What are we arguing about? You want to argue about leadership? That's fine. So argue about leadership. Argue about who should be in charge. What are you bringing unrelated matters? What does mezuzah and tzitzit have to do with anything? Now, once you throw in stuff from the side, that's already machloket shelo l'shem shamayim. A lot of the arguments that we get to in life, it's okay to argue. We have disagreements. A guy once came to his, a student once came to his Rabbi. His Rabbi was the famous Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was known that at his wife's funeral, he announced that there is no need for me to apologize to my wife. That's what Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said. I don't need to apologize to my wife. His student, a few years later, he came to him, he got married, and the Rebbe asked him, so how's the first year of marriage? The student said, Rebbe, unbelievable. Baruch Hashem, we never got even into one argument. The rabbi looked at his student, he said, he never got into one argument? That's impossible. He said, whoa, Rabbi, what do you mean impossible? You yourself said about your own marriage that you 40 years, 50 years, however long you're married, you never had to apologize to her. So you were able to avoid arguments. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said, I was able to avoid apologizing. I didn't avoid arguments. Arguments, we had plenty. Fighting all the time. We always had disagreements. But we never made it personal. We never took it to the next level. To disagree is okay. Nothing wrong with disagreeing. The Gemara says, Keshem, just like we don't look alike, we don't think alike. It's a fact of life. To disagree is normal. The question is, does the machloket remain leshem shamayim? What does that mean, leshem shamayim? That means does the machloket remain at the issue at hand? What are we arguing about? You want to argue about where to put our kids? Fine, let's stay there. Don't bring in your mother and that last time, and then you forgot the flowers, and then you didn't do this, and where you going with it? What are you bringing in other stuff for? The mahloket is here. Keep it here. Bet Hillel, Bet Shammai, whenever they argued plenty. They always kept the argument on the issue at hand. You can't go off on a tangent in a mahloket. That's where you get into trouble. Korah does exactly that. Korah, he's arguing here, he brings in from here. He starts showing you a little thing. That's what we call in magic, it's called a distraction. They try to divert your attention from the real issue. That's very dangerous in a machloket. So don't be like Korah, says the Torah. When you argue, it's okay to argue, but stay at point, stay relevant. Don't get sidetracked with what the argument's about. A lot of times we get caught up in the nonsense of the argument, in the little things. You're arguing about something here, and all of a sudden you make it about, oh, why'd you use, and then this, and then that, and we get so, okay, whatever. That's not the issue, right? Let's stay focused. Let's stay here. Now, unfortunately, sometimes there are mahlokets that are not l'shem shamayim, and Moshe teaches us a nice tactic. Moshe tells us, how do we avoid such mahlokets? Sometimes there's a mahloket that's not a good mahloket. We could tell right away. It's not going to go the right direction. How does one address such mahlokets? Well, the first thing we need to know is what Moshe does. And Moshe, what does he tell the Tan and Aviram and everyone that's with him? He says to them, Boker, let's wait till the morning, and then we'll see who's right. Let's do a test in the morning. Why in the morning? Why not now? Moshe, let's do a test right here, right now. You know why? Moshe is teaching us a very important tactic when it comes to fighting, when it comes to anger and heat. Wait till the morning. A lot of times we get excited in the moment and we start saying things, we start doing things that we're going to regret tomorrow. Moshe knows this, and Moshe says, listen, right now they're excited. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they're all of a sudden, but let me let them sleep on it. Let's give them a chance to just relax. Let them go home, let them go eat a nice dinner, take a shower. Hopefully in the morning, things will change. So this is very important to know. A lot of times when we get into a thing, something that's sticky, something that's maybe not so good, and we realize we're about to do something, we're about to say something, the smartest thing we can do is run away. Just leave the situation. Before you say something that that you're not going to appreciate tomorrow. You're going to say something you're going to regret. So right away, smart people know. They run out of the house, they go for a walk, they shut their mouth, they go to the bathroom. Whatever you have to do, stay away. Wait till tomorrow. Book it. And then Moshe says, in the morning, let's see how we feel. This is a very smart tactic, not only against fighting with people, fighting with the Yetzer Hara. Many times the Yetzer Hara comes to us and he wants us to do something that we know is not okay, to speak about someone or to do something or to eat, whatever it is. And a smart tactic against the Yetzer Hara is to tell the Yetzer Hara, boker. You know what that means, boker? Stenna. Wait till tomorrow. Come back in 20 minutes. Do you still have this urge to speak about that person? A lot of times it's only in the moment, and if we wait a little bit, we'll be able to be saved from many, many, many problems. The Jewish people did Chet HaEgel because of one mistake, and that is they didn't wait. If they would have waited, all would have been good. All you need to do in life sometimes is wait. We wait, and we will reap the benefits of that patience. So far we have over here, okay, sorry about that. We have over here nice advice on what kind of mahalokets to have, and what kind of what tactic to try to maybe delay a mahaloket. But my friends, there is one more point on this topic for today, and that is, if I could ask a question, Lama nismecha, Rashi asks throughout the book of Bamidbar, why is this next to that? Why is this next to that? Why is the story of that one next to the story of that one, right? The whole book of Bamidbar is a bunch of stories, and we have to ask, why is this one next to that one? That's what Rashi does throughout the book. So as an example, the parasha ended last week with tzitzit. Rashi says, why does tzitzit connect to the beginning of the Korah? And he gives an answer. So I would like to ask a question. I would like to ask, why is the story of Korah right after the story of the spies? Is there a connection, a common denominator between what the spies did and what Korah does? Is there a lesson that Korah maybe could have learned from the spies? Is there a connection in the story between Korah and the spies? Well, let's go back to the spies for a minute. And really we have to I know we keep going back over here, but what was the crime? What was their mistake? The spies, the Miraglim. What did they do? They were given a mission to go to Israel to find out about it and to come back and report. And they do. They come back and they say the truth. They say the people are huge. The fruits are ginormous. People dying left and right. That's what the spies said. And God's wrath. Oh, now you're going to stay here for 40 years and you're never going to leave and you're going to die. What I do? I told you the truth. You wanted to know about the land. I told you about the land. What was the crime of the spies? Good question. Many answers to this question. I want to share with you one idea. I remember a joke as a kid. As a kid, it was a funny joke. As an adult, not so much. But I think there's a very powerful lesson. Listen to the joke, and then you'll see why I'm saying the joke. Again, it's not, as an adult, it's a cute whatever. You roll your eyes. The joke's about these two boys playing hide and go seek. One of them, his name is Mind Your Own Business. The other one, his name is Trouble. Okay, remember the names. Mind Your Own Business and Trouble. Those are the two names. Okay. One day, they're playing hide and go seek, and Trouble goes out to hide. Mind Your Own Business starts looking. He's searching for him. He bumps into a policeman. The policeman says to the kid, "Hey kid, what's your name?" So what does the kid say? "Mind your own business." The policeman hears the little kid tell him that. He said, "Hey kid, are you looking for trouble?" The kid says, "Yes, sir." Right? So that's the joke. But you know what? I realized that actually this joke is a pasuk. Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest of all men, and he says the following. This is in Mishle, a book worth reading, worth studying. And he says in Mishle chapter 26, Mahzik be'ozne kalev. You hold the ears of a dog. It's not a good thing to do. I don't advise this. Okay? But says Shlomo HaMelech, the guy who holds onto the ears of a dog is the same as over mitaber al riv lo. Getting involved in a fight that's not yours. Al riv lo. You know what that means? Says Shlomo HaMelech, sometimes we meddle into other people's business. Al riv lo. This is not your fight. What are you getting involved into another person's fight? Says Shlomo HaMelech, when you meddle into other people's business, that's like holding onto the ears of a dog. That's a very, very foolish thing to do. And we all mean well. We all want to do the right thing. We all want to bring peace. But sometimes, says Shlomo HaMelech, we have to know our place. We have to know, this is not my fight. This is not my area. It has nothing for me this is not my place to give my opinion. My opinion wasn't asked for over here. You know, we once spoke about the difference between Hillel and Shammai. And Aharon and Moshe. We know Aharon was the peacemaker. Aharon was the peacemaker. But why wasn't Moshe the peacemaker? You ever asked that? Did Moshe not like peace? The answer is Moshe knew that wasn't his job. That wasn't his role. As a leader of the people, he had to bring down the pure, unadulterated Torah, Mishamayim, the way it came down. This is it. You do an Avera, Chayav Mitah, no exceptions. There's no room for leniency. That's Moshe's role. That's what Hashem wants from him. Aharon's job as the Kohen, as the Dean, as the guy who's going to try to bring you a forgiveness, bring a korban, let's do tshuva, let's say sorry. He puts his arm around you. Today you could get arrested for that. Okay, so Aharon's job is to be the peacemaker, not Moshe. Shammai Hillel, same thing. Everyone thinks Shammai was a tough guy. Shammai wasn't a tough guy. In his personal life, he was amazing. Matter of fact, let me tell you about a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot says, Hevel magdim shalom l'chol adam. Say hello to everybody. Who does it sound like the author was in that one, huh? It sounds like a Hillel statement, right? Wrong. That's Shammai. Shammai is the one that says that. But how could it be? Shammai, I thought, was always tough. Guy comes to convert on one leg and Shammai says, get out of here. He has no patience. You're right. He has no patience in his work uniform. As his role of the Jewish people, he was the head of Beit Din. That's his job. His job is to be tough, to be strict. That's what they wanted from him. Hillel's job is to be the nice guy. Hillel's job as the president to try to get a pardon, to try to get a forgiveness. We'll work with you, says Hillel. But that's not what we want from Mr. Shammai. Rabbi Shammai, your job, the reason we're paying you, the reason we need you here, is to do this job. In life, it's very important to know what's your job. I'm sure Shammai would have loved to make a leniency for the guy, but he wasn't allowed to. He couldn't. That's not why we're paying you. In life, it's very important to know your role, to know what your strengths are, and to know your limitations. This is not my place. How many times, my friends, in-laws get involved and they tell maybe their own son-in-law or daughter-in-law something. I had a student crying to me. My parents are yelling at my wife. His own parents yelling at his wife. That's not your place. That's not your position. It's very nice. She married into the family. It's very nice you love her. It's very nice I treat her like my daughter. Baloney. None of that. It's not your place. Your place is to open the wallet and zip the mouth. At the end of the day, she has parents, and that's not your daughter. Your daughter, you can tell her what you like. Your son, you can tell him what you like. It's not your place. In the summer. Summer is a very dangerous time. It's a very nice time, but it's also dangerous. What happens in the summer? A lot of people move in together. They need to move to Deal, to the Hamptons. So you have brothers with their own families, each one moving into the same house. And now you start seeing a lot of behavior and a lot of things in your other family that you didn't know throughout the winter because you're not with them. And you want to say something. You want to open your mouth. Not your place. The spies did nothing wrong until they came And they said, listen, this is what's the problem. The land is very filled with disease. People are huge. So far, nothing wrong. You know where they went wrong? The next sentence. And therefore, we can't go. Whoa, time out. Who asked you that? Who asked you that last question? Nobody asked you. And therefore, we shouldn't go was not something that you are in charge of. That's not your role. Your role is a soldier. You go in and you do as told. Moshe is giving you instruction, what to look for. Go ahead and look for it. Whether or not what we decide to do, leave that up to the captain. That's the captain's job. That's my position. In a baseball team, you have the players, you have the coach. The coach, his job is to decide on the play. Should we bunt? Should we steal a base? Should we pinch hit? Should we put in another batter? Whatever it is, that's his job. You don't make the call as the player. As the player, you hit the ball, you catch the ball, you do as you're told. If a player decides to get up and decide, you know what? I think I'm gonna swing when the coach told me not to swing, or whatever it is, that's a violation. You are crossing boundaries. That's not your place. In life, we need to know our place. You know, I remember when the New England Patriots and Tom Brady made the most historic comeback in sports history. Anyone that's a football fan knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was just a few years ago where the Patriots were playing the Falcons in the Super Bowl, the final game of the year, the championship. And they were down 21-3 at halftime, which is a huge number in football. And then they went down 28-3 right after halftime. They were down by 25 points. And they came back to win the Super Bowl. Greatest comeback of all time. And they interviewed the players after the game. Of course, everybody was shocked. The owner of the Falcons came down in the middle of the game with his suit ready to celebrate. Everyone thought the Falcons won. It was a no-gamer. And they came back some way, somehow. And the players, when they were interviewed, one of the players, when he was asked, how'd you do it? What did the coach tell you guys at halftime? Did he give you some Remember the Titans speech? What did he tell you? What was his... How did he inspire you guys at halftime to come back and win it? And he said, our coach told us 3 words. One of the greatest coaches of all time, Bill Belichick. You know what he said to them? 3 words. Do your job. Do your job. If you're in charge of sales, stay in sales. Don't worry about the marketing. It's not your business. If you're in marketing, do your job in marketing. Don't worry about the sales. It's not your business. In life, we would be very wise not to meddle in people's business. Says Shlomo HaMelech, Al riv lo lo. Don't get involved in a fight that's not yours. There are fights throughout life. People have fights. Good ones, bad ones, it doesn't matter. Some of them are not yours. Stay out of the ones that are not yours. We mean well. We want to help. Your friend calls you up. They start venting and complaining about their son. Their son doesn't call them. They're complaining about their sibling. They complain about their spouse. You want to make shalom. You want to call their son. Listen, your mother, you have to call her. She's very upset. You know what? That's not your business. No one asked you to get involved. Stay out of it. You know what? You get involved, you can make things much worse. And therefore, knowing in life what's our role, what's our position, what's our job, where we're needed, requires a lot of chokhmah. This is the message of Perashat Shelach. And now we come to Perashat Korah. Korah, I think, if we're asking what's the connection between Shelach and Korah, I think they're very connected. Because if Korah would have known this, if Korah would have learned from the mistake of the spies, if we would have learned boundaries, the spies didn't know boundaries. They didn't know their place. They went past their place. They gave their opinion when not asked. If the Korah would have learned just from the lesson of of boundaries, he could have avoided death for him and thousands. You see, Korah's wife, our rabbis tell us, she actually messes him up. He goes down because of his wife. What does she tell him? Korah, look at you. You're rich, you're charismatic, you're good looking. What's this fool Moshe doing in charge? What is he doing over there? He can't even talk to the guy. He's got a lisp, a stutter. Well, yeah, you should be a leader. And she gets into his head. And on the other hand, you had this other guy. His name is On. On. Sounds like a, Hazik guy. On. From the word Oni, maybe. I don't know. Okay, he's poor. He's just, simple. And he's part of Korah's clan. You know what his wife tells him, though? His wife tells him, listen, On, I just want to know, if you guys win, what's going to happen? So if we win, then Korah's going to be in charge. And if you lose, what's going to happen? If we lose, then Moshe is going to be in charge. So she says, I don't understand. Where do you come into this picture? What does this fight have to do with you? What are you in this fight for? One side is Korah winning. The other side is Moshe winning. I have yet to see On's name in this. Where is On? Get involved. What are you doing here? Why are you getting involved in a fight? Why are you meddling into another person's struggle? Al riv lo. It's not your battle. Get out of it. Stay away. Know your place. On's wife saves her husband with this lesson. Korah's wife destroys her husband because she forgets this lesson. And she pushes her husband to be something that he's not. She says, listen, you're a leader. You should be in charge. You should be Kohen Gadol. And he's not that caliber. He wasn't made up of that stuff. He didn't know boundaries. But you know what Korah wants to say? Kulam kedoshim. We're all the same. We're all equal. And already centuries ago, On's wife recognizes that even those that preach equality, they never mean it. More than ever, they're the ones that want to be in charge. They're the ones that want to take the equality for themselves. At the end of the day, all men are created equal, but some are more equal than others. In life, we have to realize there's equal but different. There's a time and place for each person. Just because we're equal, it doesn't mean we have the same exact roles. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Korah, Boker, wait till the morning. And what I think he was hinting with those words, Boker, wait till the morning. There's morning, there's night, there's a time for this, there's a time for that. It's not all daylight, it's not all nighttime. There's different parts of the day, there's different seasons, there's different colors, there's different flavors. Not everybody's equal, but it doesn't mean that we're not the same. Everybody has a different role. Everybody has a different role. We're equal, but we're different. Everyone has their position. There's a wife's role, there's a husband's role, there's a father's role, there's a mother-in-law's, father-in-law. Everyone has their thing. You have to know where's your place. Is this a time for me to get involved? Maybe I shouldn't. I see my friend getting in a divorce. I want to tell her husband something. Who are you? Are you a matchmaker? No, are you hired by any of the parties? What are you doing getting involved? We have to know this lesson. They forgot their place in life. Very important. If we do our job. The spies, if they would have just stuck to their job, they would have been successful. Korah, if he would have stuck to his job. Know what's your job. And On's wife, his wife, teaches him, honey, this is not your role. You're not a general. You're a soldier. Do your thing. You're not a leader. You're a follower. That's what Hashem created you, and that's okay. And he stays alive because he does his job. May we always be zocheh in life to be able to know what's our role, to know our place. And when we do so, we will all be winners, be'ezrat Hashem. We'll stop over here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.